Hi, my name is Candace Reynolds Wells.
My name is Mark Burnett.
Hi, I'm Chanel Joseph.
Hello everybody, my name is Shahid.
I am Leona Melius.
And I am Vidal Philip.
We are the St. Lucian cohort, and our presentation will be based on progressivism.
We will now look at the origin of educational philosophy of progressivism. Progressive education could trace its origin to the philosophy of pragmatism. Pragmatists believe that reality is constantly changing and that we learn best through applying our experiences and thoughts to problems as they arise. Now, philosophy has some values, and those values within the pragmatists are that there is no absolute and unchanging truth, but rather truth is what works. Only those things that are experienced or observed are real. To them, truth, reality, goodness, and badness are all relative terms. They are proved by man's own experiences. Now, if you would look at the history more, the term progressivism actually arose from the late 1890s to the early 1920s, during which many Americans took a more careful look at the political and social effects of vast concentrations of corporate power and private wealth. Now, what actually happened is, within the classroom context, there were people of varying cultural background that had different beliefs and different needs within the classroom context, and the system was basically trying to get them to achieve some level of cultural uniformity within the 1830s. So they were more focused on getting all of these students to achieve cultural uniformity and not diversity. Now, near the end of the 19th century, a series of reform movements known collectively as progressivism gained momentum and soon made an impact on the politics, culture, journalism, social services, and education in the United States. It arose in reaction to the problems created by dramatic increase in the urbanization and industrialization that characterized the second half of the 1800s. The term progressive was engaged to distinguish this education from the traditional European or Euro-American curricula of the 19th century. It is a theory that urges the liberation of child from the traditional emphasis on rote learning, lesson recitation, and book authority. So basically, progressivism looks at the whole child as an individual. They look at the needs of the child. They focus on the child as an individual and not on the teacher or any other aspects. The needs of the child is the main focus.
There were a number of prominent leaders among the pedagogical progressives, including Francis Parker, G. Stanley Hall, William Kilpatrick, George Count, Harold Rugg, and Boyd Bode. But of course, John Dewey was the godfather of this movement. John Dewey was born in Burlington, Vermont in the year 1859 and died in 1952. He was an American philosopher, psychologist, and an educational reformer and the founder of Physiological School of Pragmatism. Many considered him to be the father of functional psychology and educational progressivism. Dewey graduated from the University of Vermont and obtained his PhD degree from the Johns Hopkins University. He lectured in the United States, Beijing, Japan, Turkey, Mexico, and Russia. He authored many articles and books not only on philosophy and logic, but also on art, education, science, and social and political reform. Example, Democracy and Education, 1916. Reconstruction and Philosophy, 1920. Experience and Nature, 1925, second edition, 1929. Art as Experience, 1934, and Freedom and Culture, 1939.
The philosophical questions on reality, truth, and values of progressivism can be summarized in the following statements. 1. Human beings are innately good and should therefore be encouraged to take its natural course. 2. The child is neither a scaled-down, ignorant version of the adult, nor a formless piece of clay in need of molding. Rather, the child is a special being in its own right with unique, trustworthy, indeed holy impulses which should be allowed to develop and run their own course. As a result, the purpose of education is to enhance individual effectiveness in society and give the learner practical knowledge and problem-solving skills. Based on John Dewey's model of learning, instructors should give constant attention to ensure that life experiences are linked with other experiences. They should be knowledgeable guides and resources for students, not as taskmasters who just drill students in subject matter. They should establish a proper learning environment in order to stimulate directed intellectual and emotional growth among students. The teacher also should capture and use the motivation that already exists, since pragmatists believe that children have an inherent motivation to learn, and that therefore promotes an active role for students to focus on learner, not the subject. One size does not fit all. The teachers must understand that all children are not at the same point and therefore cannot be educated in the same way. In the curriculum, knowledge and experience are inseparable. There should be no gap between children's area of interest and important subject matter. There should be focus on process because ends should not be divorced from means. When one views what a child learns as fixed and ready-made, attention is directed too much on outcome. Diversified curriculum with problem-centered activities according to students' needs and interests are very important. So how should they evaluate the students? All questions on the grading of the child and his promotion should be determined by reference to the same standard. So there should be some form of standardization. Exams are of use only as far as they test the child's fitness for social life and reveal the place in which he could be of the most service and where he can receive the most help.
We can clearly see a blend of the tradition and progressive educational philosophies in our present curriculum and practice. For example, there is a broad curriculum that includes a range of subjects from different disciplines. Although students choose their own subjects, however, some subjects are compulsory, such as math and English. The use of teaching strategies such as differentiated learning makes provision for the needs of every child, thus refuting the idea of one size fits all. Additionally, project-based, portfolios, and practical sessions provide motivation and real-life experiences to enhance learning. However, there is still a great emphasis on standardized exams. Timetable ensures that students are in a class, however, they still have the freedom to decide which class to attend. Students are also given the opportunity to shadow a teacher, which is part of tradition in many schools.
In conclusion, we recognize that while some aspects of the education philosophy of progressivism is evident in schools and in the classroom, there are many challenges that must be overcome in order to fully benefit from its advantages. Such factors include lack of resources and teaching to many national and regional standardized tests, which tends to ignore the student's individual needs. That being said, progressivism is not free from disadvantages. Many educators believe that it is not rigorous enough. In addition, there seems to be a lack of systematic study and depth in specific disciplines. As a group, we believe that there are many aspects of progressivism that can be beneficial to our students, such as the fact that we should teach the student for life and not just to pass an exam. In a nutshell, we only accept progress from progressivism. We've come to the end. Thank you for your undivided
attention.